everyone. This is the Naples Money Managers News You Can Use. I haven't talked much yet this morning. I'm losing my voice. See, that'll be danger, won't it? Today is my husband's birthday, May 11th, so happy birthday, love. Just thought I'd put that out there for everybody. Today we're going to talk about a couple of different subjects. I'm going to talk about credit card debt and maybe even bankruptcy. And John Kincaid's going to talk a little bit about the markets, and again, kind of looking back, looking at the overall picture so you can look from 30,000 feet instead of that tree right in front of you. And Dennis is going to talk a little bit more about oil. We've been talking about it, but we've changed a few things in our portfolio, so he's going to talk about that. So if you allow me to talk for just a few minutes about a kind of a touchy subject, and that is a lot of people are starting to have trouble paying their credit cards, and they really have to start looking deeply at what are they going to do. Some of the credit card companies, I know there's at least 8 of them right now that are offering some relief. They're offering up to 1, maybe 2 months of no payments with no interest and no penalties, and that no interest part is the really important part. So I want to encourage everyone to get online, check out their credit card company. They might even have a coronavirus page that you can go to and apply there for that relief. If you have any indication at all that you might need it, I'm going to suggest you apply for it right away. Also, while you're there, ask for your credit score. I think it's going to be important because they say this is not supposed to affect your credit score at all. So it'd be nice to know what your credit score is ahead of time. If in the long run it looks like you're just not going to be able to handle all the debt that you have, you really need to start looking at 2 different things. Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy. It's not a pleasant word, but it is meant for a fresh start. So don't rule them out. There's a lot of things in between, but let's just keep all this in mind early on instead of later when it gets very, very difficult to get yourself out of this mess. So that was not very light and bright and cheery today, but I'm sure that John Kincaid is going to bring everybody up to a much cheerier level. So John, come on.
Thanks, Don. Always good to be here. I've been thinking about a lot of the phone calls that I get, the emails that I get, or just what I hear in public about the markets. Most of you are veteran investors, but many people have seen this coronavirus as the end of the world, which it really isn't. We've been through so many ups and downs over the last 100 years in this market. This is just simply a blip. Let me tell you what I found. I came across a contributor to Forbes magazine. She has an interesting background. Her name is Carolyn McClanahan. She studied med school, became an ER doc, and then was looking for an advisor for her and her husband, and she was frustrated, so she went then and got her CFP, dropped her medical practice, and became an advisor. This is what she says, quote, "A client's biggest risk to their financial security is actually themselves." Now, the point here isn't to be negative. The point is when we look at this market right in front of us day to day with all the media hype, we tend to see things are really in a bad shape when they're actually not. Let me take you back 10 years and 5 years and a couple of years. You won't be able to see this fully, but if you look at the bottom down here, over 10-year periods, the markets have done well. You know that, you've been invested in the market. Over the last 5 years, they've done well. Over the last 3 years, they've done well. So then I said, well, if we were to take the Naples Money Managers Mapato portfolio, which is our covered call portfolio, and look at how it's done over the last 12 months, then we really put this market into perspective. I did that, and what I found is that the Dow from May 8th, 19 last year to May 8th this year, 2020, is down a little over 6%, while the Naples Money Managers portfolio is positive 1.35. This is not the end of the world. It's a great time to be invested. Tell your friends, give us a call, and let us help. Have a great day.
Thanks, John.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you for giving us the 30,000 view look, and you talked about, Dawn, you talked about the trees. Well, I look at the trees. And one of the trees I'm looking at are oil stocks. You know, Warren Buffett always said that where you're looking for, you want to be looking for stocks when there are a lot of wrecks out there and picking from those wrecks. And of course, that's when you want to buy the best companies, the most financially secure companies when times aren't good. And that's the case with the oil market right now. And we've just recently added Chevron to the portfolio. We looked at with several oil stocks. Chevron looked like the strongest, at the lowest cost of production of oil. They can make money at these levels. Their dividend looks secure. You never know for sure, but looks secure. But there's going to be some losses, and it's going to take a while for this whole oil thing to develop. But you're getting a 5% dividend while you're waiting. Plus, we can easily generate another 5, maybe even 10% from selling options on the stock. So we expect to stick with this trade for a long time. We hope we stick with it for a much longer time while we're producing that dividend and those and generating that return from the options that we sell. You know, you look at the whole category. Shell just lowered their dividend by 66%. Exxon had the first quarterly loss announced in maybe 20 or 30 years. It's been so there's a lot going on out there. There's a lot of deals to look at, but we want the best. We want the strongest. So that's what I've got to say about our latest addition at the tree level.
The tree level. I notice when I walk over to the camera this way, it really does put on at least 10 or 20 pounds. So I'm trying to go in a sideways motion. So I'm going to end with just a couple of things. First of all, if you are having financial trouble, always talk to your institutions ahead of time. Don't wait. Do it now. They want to be talked to. You may have to wait for a while on phone, but do it. There was also car insurances. You know, a lot of car insurances are doing rebates. Some of them are doing more than one. So look for those. These are all little things that you should use as a way to pay off something else, not maybe as a way to go buy something else. So we're gonna have to really get back to the 60s when there were no credit cards. If you don't have the cash, don't buy it. Simple as that. If you don't borrow money for things that go down in value, that is the rule. So that's why you're not even supposed to borrow for a car. Now these days that would be pretty difficult. I will end with a couple little tidbits from, it's called Unsolicited Advice, and it's done by Kevin Kelly. And his first one says, learn how to learn from those you disagree with and even offend you. See if you can find the truth in what they believe. This is Money Matters. Most of all, most importantly, you matter. We'll talk to you next Monday.